Hey, I'm Kristine Leahy, and it's time for another edition of Best Thing I Heard this week. Shawne Merriman stopped by, and he discussed the Greg Hardy situation.
He's wired different. He's a high-intensity guy, and you have to learn how to confront those guys a little bit different because it's a lot of pride, a lot of ego, and you have to find a way to get to them. That wouldn't happen in a San Diego Chargers locker room while I was there. It wouldn't happen with the Bills locker room. We had some really good guys on the team, and we wouldn't tolerate guys who are constant distractions and can't be controlled. Everyone makes mistakes, and I don't think you should be defined off of one thing you do. But, dude, you're messing it up. You're messing it up now, and you're having another opportunity. And one thing he has to realize is that as soon as he stopped playing well, the Dallas Cowboys and the NFL will find a way to get him out of the league, period.
Steve Ballmer was here, and he talked about Mark Cuban and DeAndre Jordan.
Mark and I had, let me call them some firm words with each other when we first met after this whole thing happened, because there was a bunch of back channel.
Yes.
He did what's fair. He came after our guy. We did what's fair. We saved our guy. We do this all the time in business. Somebody comes and tries to poach your people, you're on it, baby. You just don't let it go. But there was a little bit of weird back channel. We took it on, and now we move on. And, I've known Mark since the 80s. Remember, he grew up in the computer business.
Yeah.
So I've known him a long, long time, and we cleared the air. And, now we're back working on problems in the NBA.
I love that you're so honest, that you acknowledge that you had heated words. I appreciate that honesty.
And Mark and I are those kinds of guys,
yes,
individually and together. I know Mark well enough. Hey, I called Mark a bunch of times before I bought a team. Mark was generous with his time. So we both got off our chests what we needed to, and we move on. And I have great respect for Mark and the passion he brings to the game of basketball.
Joe Klatt shared his college football playoff committee conspiracy theory with us.
All you have to do is look at who's on the committee and who's most influential on the committee. I said this last week. Barry Alvarez is very clearly the most influential person on the committee, and number 2 on that list is Tom Osborne, because schematics are starting to matter as well. If you play in a phone booth, if you play pro style of offense and you like to run the ball and stop
That's
the run,
what they coached.
love you.
Osborne and Barry Alvarez love that.
Listen, they're communicating right now with an old phone book and a rotary phone, and if you use Facebook, it ain't happening for you. The greatest trick that this committee is pulling is making people believe that these rankings don't matter and that the criteria that they're throwing out does matter, because it clearly doesn't. Right now, the schematics and the belief is that the SEC plays great defense. And while I would agree, I think that you have to use different metrics when you're looking at higher number of possessions in some conferences versus other conferences. Let me just throw this out to you, and this is 100% fact. Take from it what you will. In the Alabama-LSU game, there were 2.09 points per possession scored in the game overall. Okay. If you go to the TCU-Oklahoma State game that I was at, very impressive performance from Oklahoma State defensively, even though they gave up 600 yards. Guess how many points per possession were given up in the game as a whole? 2.05. It was actually a better game defensively than the SEC game, but no one wants to look at that per possession. All they want to do is look at totals, yards, and points, which are clearly not the metric you can use to view the Big 12 and the Pac-12 as opposed to the Big 10 and the SEC.
And Colin took some digs at Iowa football.
Iowa is the poser. They want us to love them and embrace them and consider them even with Ohio State when they're both undefeated. But I can't, because Ohio State, year after year, plays the best teams and beats them. And Iowa gets on the phone and avoids them. And by the way, I have the phone number all colleges use to schedule games. We called it this morning. It's called 1-800-CREAM-PUFF.
Thank you for calling 1-800-CREAM-PUFFs. Press 1 if you're Kirk Ferentz. For all other coaches, press 2. To schedule Illinois State, press 1. To schedule North Texas, press 2. To schedule Missouri State, press 3. To schedule Iowa State, press 4. To schedule all of them and gift yourself the easiest schedule possible, press 5.
Ohio State doesn't press 5. Michigan State doesn't press 5. Michigan doesn't press 5. Kirk Ferentz, his athletic director in Iowa, press 5.
This has been Best Thing I Heard this week. Tune in weekdays at noon Eastern.